Ning Feng is China's leading violinist. He studied at the Sichuan Conservatory of Music, later at Berlin and London. Actually, at the Royal Academy of Music, Ning Feng was the first student, and listen to this, in the 200-year history of the Royal Academy of Music, who received a perfect grade. He is the recipient of many prizes, such as the International Queen Elizabeth, the Yehudi Menuhin, and the Paganini competitions. Ning Feng has performed with every big orchestra in the world, from the Hong Kong Philharmonic to the Los Angeles Philharmonic, to the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, to the Lucerne Symphony Orchestra. He plays one of the few Stradivari violins, and we can talk about this later. Ning Feng lives today with his family and a little son in Berlin. And I just mentioned the Lucerne Symphony Orchestra because 4 of their fine musicians will accompany Ning Feng as he will perform today. Please, friends, give a big hand to Ning Feng and the chamber group of the Lucerne Symphony Orchestra. So, Feng, let me come a little bit here. Maybe I come to this side here. So, when did you realize for the first time that you had this special gift for music?
Not yet.
Maybe this is easier here. Not yet, okay.
Not yet, not yet. I'm still trying. Yeah.
We're all trying hard, but you seem to have achieved a certain level. Poco. But you mentioned to me that growing up, you had a hard time, or your parents, were somehow with the Cultural Revolution. It wasn't that easy for your parents. Yeah. How has that impacted your track with the music or your career with the music?
Because my parents were born after the 50s, and that generation was very strongly affected by many things, including the Cultural Revolution, and were when actually everything from the Western world was banned, was forbidden. So, but as we just heard, it's something really nice. It's something really enjoyable. So if something is really nice and you forbid people from doing something, it makes only people more interesting. So my father always had his dream and his desire of being able to play the violin. And of course, he was not able to do so. Politically and financially. Because my grandma used to tell me once that my father, when he was very young, and he told my grandma, "Mom, I want you to have a violin." And my grandma, her reaction was, "Are you kidding me?" Because it was too expensive. Even a normal, really a factory violin, I'm not talking about the Stradivarius, but just normal factory violin back then in the 60s, was just too much for an average family in China. So my dad always wanted, he had a dream. So when I was born, and so it's quite a common thing, I think. Ask your children to do something that you haven't been able to do. So yeah, so I play the violin.
That's why. That's why I asked my 4-year-old twins to write books. You actually have a son that's exactly the same age as our sons. So talking about the violin, so this is a Stradivari. How much does one of those things cost? Aren't you afraid of breaking it? Aren't you afraid of traveling with it, or getting it, having it stolen?
I'm not afraid of traveling with it because I have to travel with it. So I have to be brave. but in a way, there's actually one of the greatest violinists that we had in our history, Jascha Heifetz, and he's actually very in a way, he had his own personal humor. And there was once that, as one of his famous story was that at the end of his concert, one of the ladies from the audience went to the backstage and went to congratulate him by saying, "Oh, Mr. Heifetz, your violin sounded wonderful." And what he did was he took his violin and placed the violin beside his ear and did this. "I'm sorry, I don't hear anything." So in a way, it's a magnificent piece of art, but in the violinist's hand, it's a tool. So for me, it's just a wooden box that I can make some really nice, really nice tune out of it. But it's a tool for me to express my feelings towards music. So in a way, I'm not afraid of using it or traveling with it. Of course, talking about the numbers, it is very valuable. We're talking about millions of dollars. So for such a small piece of wood, it's really a lot of money. So, but it is something. I have to say, it's really a nice tool that I can use. So it's something really nice. I'm so fortunate to. By the way, it's not mine. I'm not able to buy this. It's been generously lent to me by a collector in Hong Kong. So.
Okay, this is how you must feel like. Petros must feel like this about a supercomputer. About the same price probably as your violin. So we've just heard Vivaldi.
Yes.
The Four Seasons, that was spring that you played. What are you going to play next?
Well, we actually have the selections from actually the Four Seasons by Vivaldi. So then what we just heard is the first movement of spring. So people could actually hear the birds sing, and also we have this very positive atmosphere of, you know, everything's like everything's turning green, very positive. Well, I mean, it's not really nice weather out there at the moment, but so I thought maybe inside we can bring something nice. And our next piece is also from the Four Seasons, and it's the last movement of the autumn. Again, it's a enjoyment. It's, you know, people are it's harvest, so people are enjoying the wine. They are actually going for hunting, so something nice.
Great. Well, on to the next piece. On to the next movement. Please give a big hand. So Ning Feng and the Lucerne Symphony Orchestra. So, being one of the world's leading violinists, even if you're still practicing or trying to, how does a typical day look like for you?
Well, getting up, brush your teeth, well, practice. I mean, I don't practice every day now. I used to practice every day and quite a lot when I was younger, but I don't get to practice every day. But I'm still trying to deliver a 4 hours average daily practice. But of course, I mean, for the most challenging thing is, well, I actually guess most people actually in this room wouldn't have to worry about that. But me as a Chinese, I have to get visas. And so, which means a lot of, form to fill out and then going to the embassy in person. And jet lags. So, travel and then jet lags. So this is actually something that I constantly have to deal with, which is actually not really that enjoyable.
Yeah, but practicing, do you enjoy practicing, or is it you just have to do it, but you really dislike it? You'd rather watch TV?
We have 2 words when it comes to actually making the sound, either the noise or whatever, making sound from the instrument. One word is practice. The other one is play. Practice is never pleasant. Practice is something really people have to suffer. I mean, but in order to be able to play, the word play has the meaning of enjoyment. But in order to be able to play, one has to practice. So, I mean, this is something for me when I was young, I didn't understand why I have to practice. But as an adult, I mean, we all understand we have to work in order to be able to enjoy. So, I don't enjoy practicing, but I have to do it because I know that's what is required for me to be able to play and enjoy at the end.
But isn't there a certain level, when you reach a certain level, that you say, okay, I'm now so good, I know this stuff, I don't have to practice anymore, I'm good enough. You're never going to reach that level, no musician ever.
I don't think that's, because physically we have to move our fingers still. So that requires, even Usain Bolt, he's the fastest man on earth, but he still have to train. So yeah, one has to work in order to, even you achieve certain level, you still have to work to remain in that level.
And the minimum to remain at that level is about 4 hours for you?
For me, it's about 4 hours average.
Will you recognize when you do kind of cheating and you go down to 3 hours? And how long will it take until you figure it out that you didn't practice enough?
Well, we actually have a kind of, like a saying, like a joking kind of saying, that if you don't practice for 1 day, yourself notice it. If you don't practice 3 days, your colleague notice. If you don't practice for 1 week, everybody knows.
Okay. That's a good saying. That's a good saying. You mentioned the filling out the forms, the visa forms, and all that stuff. Again, having a son like our kids, would you provided he had the ability, the skills to be a tremendous soloist, would you want him to become a soloist, or would you rather be a different type of musician in an orchestra?
Well, I'm neutral in that respect. Well, if he really has the means to become a musician, a soloist, or a conductor, I would be happy. But if not, whatever he chooses to do, it's I'll be happy as long as it's something positive to this. To the humankind, to the society. As long as it's something really nice. So he can contribute to the society. I'll be happy to support whatever it takes. Because for us, we perform on stage. It's kind of, it's nice. We bring the joy to the audience as musicians. But I say I live in Berlin, but I stay probably, no more than 3 months in Berlin the whole year. The rest of them, actually, I'm traveling. And it's, I often feel guilty because I'm away from my family. In person, I have 3 roles to play. I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a father. But I'm not able to deliver in any of these roles a good character, a good son, a good husband, a good father. I'm not. So this is, in a way, I feel always guilty. And but this is our life as musicians. I assume that you guys liked what I just did.
Right?
But thank you very much. I'm glad that. Thank you. But probably you don't want to hear me 100 times out of the year, right? So I have to travel for. I mean that's more or less how much I have to play now. So I have to travel to 100 different places to perform to a different audience, because one can get very tiring of just hearing one person playing. So.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the last piece, and then we can let you go, because you're going to fly back to Berlin. You guys have a performance tonight at the Kakao in Lucerne. So what are we going to hear now as the last piece?
Again, something enjoyable. It's the Winter from the Vivaldi Fourth Season. But this is actually the second movement of the Winter. The first and the third are quite winter, as you can imagine. Chilly, cold, people walking on ice and slippery. But the Winter is actually a sunny afternoon. The second movement is a sunny afternoon. So finally, imagine yourself outside, and you can. Snow has stopped, but it's white in the forest. It's really nice, and the sun shines there. It's still winter, but it's not cold. It's warm.
Great. Thank you.